Welcome to HBCU Her Voice, a place where we celebrate the powerful voices and stories of remarkable women from historically Black colleges and universities. I'm your host, Shanasia Washington, a proud HBCU graduate myself. I'm thrilled to bring you this platform dedicated to amplifying the voice of our community. We dive into inspiring stories of resilience, success, and the incredible impact these women are making in the world. From trailblazing entrepreneurs to innovative leaders, we bring you the stories that matter, showcasing how HBCU experiences shape paths and fuel passions. We'll explore challenges, victories, and wisdom. Whether you're an HBCU alum, a student, faculty member, supporter, or simply someone who believes in the power of diverse voices, we are so glad to have you. So listen up as we share insights, celebrate achievements, and uplift our community. Together, we can inspire the next generation of leaders and ensure our voices are heard loud and clear. A grand welcome to HBCU Her Voice. A grand welcome to HBCU Her Voice. You already know you landed. This is Shanasia Washington, the fabulous host of this podcast. And let me tell y'all today, I always tell y'all that I'm a little bit extra, and today is one of those days. Because when I tell you this is a full circle moment for me, I am so incredibly honored for this guest today. I have already told her how this thing gonna go down. Your girl is beaming with pride. And I always love the season of my life when things seem so intentional, because many of you that are close to me have known the heaviness I have felt. I'm like, man, I got to get back home. I got to find a way to pour. I got to find a way to connect. And it really seems like this opportunity fell in my lap, so I don't want to take that lightly. We will do our intro a little bit different. I'm going to read the incredible bio of this fabulous guest, and then I'm going to bring her on to the stage so y'all can see who we are talking about on today. I have the Dr. Melva K. Wallace in the building today. Results, stability, and forward planning define the leadership of Dr. Melva K. Wallace. She is the 7th president and CEO of what, y'all? Who we talking about today? Huston-Tillotson University, a nationally ranked private liberal arts, historically Black college and university known as the HBCU, and the third oldest business in the city of Austin, Texas. Her career spans more than 20 years in senior leadership across public and private higher education. Since she took the helm in 2022, the Huston-Tillotson University has advanced measurably in national prominence, fundraising, enrollment strategy, and academic innovation, including expanding international graduate and online offerings. Most notably, y'all heard about this, right? Huston-Tillotson secured a historic $150 million philanthropic investment from the Moody Foundation. That's the largest gift, in HBCU history, and the top 30 largest gift to any university in the country, right? Dr. Wallace is widely regarded for her innovation, advocacy on AI use at our nation's HBCUs, disciplined financial management, and strategic execution. Prior to her presidency, she held senior executive appointments with the Southern University System. That's the only HBCU system in the nation. Her service as vice chancellor and chief of staff included system-level oversight of multiple campuses and complex operations. Earlier academic leadership roles included service at Centenary College of Louisiana, where she contributed to student retention initiatives and now serves on the board of trustees. Nationally, Dr. Wallace is recognized for her perspective on HBCUs and higher education leadership. As a presidential leadership scholar, she studied leadership under former U.S. presidents George W. Bush, Bill Clinton, and George H.W. Bush. Her honors include the Athena Leadership Award, recognition by diverse issues in higher education as a leading minority woman in higher education, and designation as one of Texas's top 100 influential Texans in business, and the Austin Chamber's Top CEO Award for 2026. Her academic preparation degrees from Grambling State University and a PhD from Jackson State University. She is married to the Dr. D.L. Wallace, who is the CEO of an ed tech company and a pastor who has been on the cover of Money Magazine and Global Millionaire. They reside in the Dallas, Texas area. So if you ain't already standing up all over the building, you better be. Let's bring this beautiful and fabulous guest to the stage, who I am highly honored to see on today.
Here I am.
You know
Shanadra, the queen of HBCU Her Voice podcast.
Dr. Wallace, girl, you looking good. Looking how you looking and doing it how you doing it. I have just told her I am just so proud of her. Y'all know I'm a proud alum. I will stand up and say my school any and every time when I was matriculating through my career before I started this in financial services. Before they knew it, them Australians was even saying Huston-Tillotson. They knew Huston-Tillotson by the time I left the place. So welcome. What I love about your story is that you're not only leading at HBCUs, you were actually a product and student of HBCUs. I want to kick this interview off with asking you about your personal introduction to HBCUs. How did you end up at them, and what was your personal story as really an HBCU student?
Well, okay, I am so excited to be here. I'm thrilled. I'm honored. I'm elated. I'm encouraged. And more importantly, I am just blown away that something like this exists and that an HT alum is behind this brilliance. Okay, so let's give it up for our host. Show her some love and all she is doing, because that is what you are, what an HBCU degree looks like. You are the outcome, you are the product, you are the hopes and the dreams of our ancestors. So thank you for what you are doing. But my journey, I am HBCU born and bred. Okay, my parents both graduated from Grambling State University. My sister graduated from Grambling State University. My dad worked at Southern University and Tuskegee College, and again, just HBCU born and bred. So when I was in high school, Shanadra, you'll appreciate this. I said to myself, not going to Grambling. I will not be going to Grambling. My entire family went to Grambling. I had gone to every single football game known to man at Grambling State University. And I was like, let me go far, far away. So I took a college visit to NYU. I got up there, Shanadra, on the darn college visit, and I was looking around and I said, well, where's the football stadium? And where are the drum lines? And I had no clue that the ecosystem that I knew as growing up in the HBCU space, going to the Grambling games, going to the Jackson State games, going to the Bayou Classic, I thought everything was that lit and live. And I got to New York, even though the city was bustling, the culture of HBCU-dom was not there. And my parents sat back as they looked back like, we told you this was not going to be what you thought it would be. They were saying they not like us before Kendrick Lamar, okay? And they were just really excited that I then chose Grambling State University after realizing that what I was looking for was already baked, was already producing, was already fantastic, and it was an HBCU at Grambling State University. So that's how I ended up at Grambling.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you thought you was gonna go on there to NYU and just you thought that, and they just had to show you. Let us see. When she gets there, she's gonna figure it out.
You'll find out. You're gonna learn today. You're gonna learn today.
You're gonna learn today. But it's so interesting because I grew up in a predominantly African American neighborhood in my entire life. One of the historic neighborhoods here in Houston, Texas. Known in the South for Black people getting ownership like in the 1930s. My grandmother was like one of the first people on her street to own a home here in a historic part. So it's been rooted in me for like so long to kind of be around mine. So for the whole time, I went to a historically kind of known Black school here in Houston named Booker T. Washington. So typically those are, have lots of us there. So I left there and I came to HT and I stayed, the 4 years. I was there from 2004 to 2008, and it was not this version of Shanadra. So Shanadra didn't go nowhere but to Allen Frazier and to the library. I barely ate in the Union. I really wasn't that girl.
What?
Shanadra Washington didn't
know.
Like,
who are you? Who is this man?
Oh no, it was not this Shanadra. The few little people that I talked to or whatever, like they still trying to figure out, girl, like what happened? We studied the whole time I was at HC. I think I may have missed for the whole 4 years, maybe 3 classes. The whole 4 years.
Wait a minute. Okay, let me give you another banner. Did you get a certificate for attendance? I'm gonna send you one in the mail. I'm gonna mail your certificate.
I didn't play missing no classes. I didn't really do none of the stuff. And y'all don't yell at me. I didn't attend homecoming as a student. It was just, I'm just old. My soul old. I'm like, it's too noisy. I ain't got time.
Did you say it was too noisy?
I'm grown. I've been old a long time. You know what I'm saying? And at the time, Dr. Wallace, Austin was not.
I know.
Austin was not.
No, it's look out the window. It's popping. It's popping right now.
In them years, Austin was not hidden. I just described to you what I came from in Houston. So when I came to Austin, like, what I want to go home on Friday. I don't want to.
Yeah.
You know, and that's really what it was. But the thing about that is that when I left there, I went straight into a career. And a career where Washington was like the only one in a lot of spaces. And I didn't know what was happening, but it was that I'm like, what happened? Like, it'd be different if I had kind of spent my life a little bit more.
Yeah.
That wasn't my story. You know, I was always, intelligent, can do things. But when I was dropped there, and I talk about this often on this podcast specifically, I was like, baby, I gotta go home. Like, I couldn't do it. And I don't know specifically, the last part, and I lasted 13 years. But when I got to the last part back in 21, when I finally left, when I tell you, girl, I was having a strong identity crisis.
Wow.
I had a strong identity crisis, Dr. Wallace. It's really what birthed this whole movement. It's really what birthed this voice. It's really what birthed really everything that you see and feel. But now that I'm here, I'm like, oh no, Sinead, you better for sure get your butt back, touch some folk that's a little bit younger. I'm serious, because that's why it's been so heavy, Dr. Wallace. I'll tell the truth, because this part of my life, I'm like, man, it is time to go back and pour, because I had to literally get to a place so I said, no, this is not enough. Sinead Washington is showing up just like this. Sinead Washington does not have any more room to wear a mask anymore. I don't have the time or the space to do that anymore. Yeah. So the earlier I can get a young lady, to say, no, baby, you're not going to even pick up the mask because I had to wear. You're not going to even pick it up because it's so hard to take it off.
Yes. Oh my God, that's beautiful. That's beautiful.
So I wanted to make sure I told you that, but they trying to tell you, go on over to NYU if you want to and see what happens.
Come home. So welcome home.
Okay, now let me go here, because you have had a beautiful journey of leadership roles. I mean, keynote speaking and just doing all the things. I know Dr. Wallace looked real sweet, but Dr. Wallace is a powerhouse. She does like a little bit of everything. She's a national advocate. It's really heartwarming to me. Tell me about the parts of Dr. Wallace that we don't get to see. And you don't have to, go into anything just super, personal here, but they see, the president of the college, they see this speaker, they see, this businesswoman. What part are we not seeing that you think should be mentioned? Because some people just see all the accolades and all the titles. What do you think we don't see?
I try to be as authentic as possible.
Sure.
And I attempt at all times to show people as much, because, so I have a leadership institute, the Higher Education Leadership Foundation, where my goal is to pour into others who want to be in the HBCU, higher ed, working space in that world. And I think it's important as those future leaders and current leaders that are ascending and are in those roles, that they get to see as much of reality as possible. And so I attempt to do my best to show people as much as I can behind the scenes of leadership, because to me, it is so important. You're right. The question is a phenomenal question, because we're oftentimes watching the output. We get to see the outcome of our favorite fill in the blank. we see Beyonce, Cowboy Carter waiting on Act 3, and we get to see the output. But how often do we get to see her in the studio and late at night and fussing at Blue Ivy and Rumi and Sir? Like, we don't get to see all that she juggles to put this incredible show. We just enjoy the show. And it is exciting when we get to see those glimpses of her life and all of that behind the scenes. So the same, I guess maybe I take that same approach. Now, I'm not comparing myself to Beyonce. Let me just be very clear. In no way. Beyonce clearly has 30 hours in her day. God has blessed her with more hours. But for the rest of us that have 24, I do my best to share, mentor, give back, to really pull back the curtain of what leadership looks like. So what people don't get to see is maybe what people don't get, what they don't ask for is, getting a glimpse into what I do. But it is late nights, early mornings, child. It's getting up at 6 a.m. and having Bible study on my own. Like, I'm getting up early and pouring into myself through God's word so that I can pour out all day. It's strategizing with myself. It's thinking about all of the balls that are in the air and preparing for all them suckers to come down, and hopefully none don't hit me in the head. But it's the preparation, it's the meetings, it's all the phone calls, it's the emails that, sometimes they're good, sometimes they're not so nice. But it is those things that, are behind the scenes, and the struggles and the struggles that comes with leading a small private HBCU. Yeah. So those are some of the things that people don't get to see. The end of the month, trying to make payroll, making sure that the weight of the world is on your shoulders. And many of the people that watch your show understand, because they might be small business owners, or they might be, responsible for others financially. And when you have that burden of being responsible for others and not just people outside of your family, it's a heavier weight that you feel, because you want to ensure that what I'm doing, people go on vacation. When they take vacation, I'm so glad, I'm thankful, because I know that this university as a company, as a business, we were open and we're allowing for them to go have time with their families. When they buy a new car or when they do something exciting, it's this ecosystem that provides for the economy of what we do to manifest. And it's a weight being the president and CEO of this organization and of this university, to know that, the decisions that I make and the things that we do impacts an entire community. Yeah, it's not just, I'm running a small city. It's like being a mayor of a small city. And they don't get to see the nights when I'm concerned, when it's Spring Fest night and I can't sleep, because I'm like, Lord, just don't let anything happen, because I want the students to have a fantastic night out. I want them to enjoy Spring Fest and homecoming, but I'm also worried about safety. Like, Lord, don't let anybody do anything crazy, because you're just 1 second from being on the news, or 1 second from something unexpected happening to one of your students, because you take it on, you take it on. And I think about the cases that are happening now with students out in the summer, and something happens, and I don't want that to be one of my babies. So I take all of that weight on, because, they're adults, but we're still responsible for them. So it's so many different things that people don't get to see, but it makes up 90% of the job.
Absolutely. And I love your approach to saying, like, look, I really try to be as authentic and transparent really as possible. And I mean, it's, of course, a great, place to be. And the same even with running this is that, it has to be a place where people can come to do just that. And really, the other part of it is really using my story as a bridge, And I tell people like, hey, Shanasia, don't always get it right. Like I have to apply to 100 things and got like 2 yeses and 98 no's. And always being so open with that, because so often people get to a fork in the road where there's lots of no's, there's lots of pressure, and they think that that's the signal to exit. So I never want that to be something that I tell them, like, look, it's not about me telling all my personal business, because you'll hear all this stuff and see all this stuff, but at the same time, I'm being transparent enough that everything that I've worked on, it gets to overflow, and it gets to be a lesson, and it gets to be a community builder, so that we as a community can grow stronger together. Like in listening to that and thinking about all the late nights and all the work and all things that's coming up, I mean, it's an excellent segue to the next question, because like university presidents, they're juggling so many things and competing viewpoints from students, faculty, alumni, community stakeholders, investors, whatever it may be. How do you determine who to listen, when to listen, what to adapt, what to kind of stand firm on? Because when you are a whole man. There's a lot of different people in your tribe. Mm-hmm. What is that decision-making process like when you have to juggle the viewpoints and kind of demands, if you will, of so many populations that are kind of all there for that common cause?
Yeah, and it's such a beautiful question, because I think in the HBCU space and in the higher ed space, especially for alums, let's take alumni, people have ownership of the space. They were like, look, I was here 4 or 5 years, 6 years, however long, and we want to see this. We would like a new fill in the blank. We want a football team. We wanted this, we wanted that. And I believe, because I'm an alumni too, I try to tell the people, but I pay to talk. Mm-hmm. I pay to talk. I said, let me write a bigger check so I can. Yeah. So I think that I want to value all the voices. So that is something that is just innately in me, that I enjoy hearing from people. And no idea, no concept, no thought is not worth hearing and taking a serious consideration to. It is up to us, and is up to me as the president to prioritize those things and to say, look, we can't afford a football team. NIL has changed the landscape. So maybe right now is not the time for us to jump into that. Or, hey, hockey sounds good, but we ain't got no ice rink. You know what I'm saying? Well, how are we going to do that? So it is so many great ideas that are valuable and valid in its priority. And right now, as the president, and for advice for anybody setting strategy, is when you set the strategy and the way and you have the vision, it is Habakkuk 2:2, write the vision and make it plain, so that those who may read it can run. Okay, it's not someone else write the vision and tell you about it. It is, here is the vision, here is the goal. And so for me, that is our strategic plan. We have a strategic plan that we have, I was going to show it to you, but we have a strategic plan that is from first to foremost. We've decided what we want to do. So when we have published it, we have shared it, it is with the community, it is with our alums, it is with our stakeholders. And so we've then asked people, hey, read this document. Where do you fit in, or what ideas or what treasure do you have to give toward these initiatives? So that helps keep us streamlined and focus on the goals that we have, those 5 strategic pillars that to me make it a little less convoluted when people are coming at you with all of these things. So it's a fantastic idea, Miss Thus and Forth. It's a great idea. Here's a copy of our strategic plan. Take a look and let me know where you think this fits. And sometimes like, oh, okay, well, yeah, I guess, a hockey team right now is probably not, the best idea. It's not the best idea. And then it kind of weighs itself out. Now, of course, students' voices to me are the ones I hear first, because they live here. They reside here. This is their home address. And so if I get an email from a student, if I get a visit from a student, that is, to me, top priority. I wake up, I perk up, and I want to address those needs and their concerns, because that's why I got into this business, is because I want more Shanadras out there. I want to capture those folks that just went to the classroom, went to the library, went maybe ate once or twice in the cafeteria. I want to capture and hold on to and make that experience for everybody comfortable and rewarding, and so that they can reach their goals. So I think it's so many competing voices. I get email all the time from people that, think they have great ideas, and I love getting those emails, and that's just how I handle those.
That's good. I mean, and that actually made me think about something, because it's about that plan, about writing it down and really making it plain. I mean, I know it seems simple, but I mean, it is really a guiding practice, especially when you're doing strategy, because people can get in there and try to derail everything. No, we do have a plan, and
Right.
Of course you are,
Right.
nice, and you're coordinating all different things, but kind of the plan is the plan is the plan. And at the end of the day, you can't please everybody. You're not going to be able to.
Yeah. Well, if you don't know where you're going, then anywhere will get you there. I mean, any path will get you there.
I got you.
If you don't know where you're going. So what happens is and this is a beautiful question, and it's not just for me, it's for all of us as we're strategizing. If you don't know where you want to go and the goals that you want to reach,
I
can come to you and say, Shanadra, look, I think you should start planting sunflowers. You are just a light. I think you're like, oh yeah, it's money in sunflowers. And then now you're going in this direction, and then the next person comes and say, look, you need to make your own cryptocurrency, and it'd be the Shanadra coin. You like, yes, now you're going to go, and you're trying to go in all these different directions. And then you wonder, why am I not being successful? Why am I? Because you don't have a plan, and you're letting other people decide which way you're going. And so set your goals, get clear about where you want to go and what success looks like. And then God is going to make a way that those people will be attracted to where you are going. Mm-hmm. But otherwise, if that does not happen, you're going to be going in all kind of different directions, and that's going to just pull you in too many different places, and you really can't effectively operate a business, a company, nor a university in that way.
Oh, I love that. Now, I want to ask you about the philanthropic gift. I know you probably get so many questions about that, but I know that when I was scrolling around and I saw it, I almost threw my phone.
Yeah.
I said, that's my school. Really?
Yes, it is. That's right. I'm glad you did. It is.
I said, oh my God. And the crazy thing about it, I told you that my grandfather, he thought he was a student, okay?
Amen.
He got more HT stuff. I said, how you got this shirt from 2007? I did join the Student Government Association, girl. They had to twist my arm. But anyway, I did that for a little while, and he had my SGA shirt. I said, where you get this shirt from? I ain't even seen it.
You left it behind. I got it. He picked up.
I hadn't seen that shirt prior to 2 years ago from the time I was at HC. I just seen the shirt, okay?
I love it.
I was like, oh my gosh, like that it did something to me. Like it really ignited pride. It ignited just like, man, like I had always believed in my institution, and that doesn't mean that the money changed or what, but it just to see something that large be extended to a place where I've grown so much traditionally. And I mean, I really did, although I had a couple teachers there who have gone and passed on now that were like pretty much like family. When we still had phones in our dorm rooms at that time. We actually had landline phones at that time.
Right. Yeah.
We still had them. I used to have a teacher that called me almost every other weekend when I started driving to come back to Houston. He said, "Get on that road now." He said, "You don't stop here. You get your gas and you get on up the road and get to Houston." And Dr. Bay, I know that you've gone on, but he was my chemistry teacher. And Dr. Bay made sure And I tell this story publicly all the time. Dr. Bay called Shanasia Washington on her landline phone in her dorm room, telling me not, you know, I told you, don't stop here. You should have enough gas. He was old school cat. You get here.
My gosh.
He did that for me. Okay. So nobody could get to ever tell me about my family that was there on that campus. Hence so much that almost 20 years later, here's a place where I'm getting to talk about and pour back into the earth because it meant that much to me.
Yes.
So I seen that I said, oh, baby, it's gonna go down. Okay.
Oh, it's going down. It's going up. It's going up.
Up.
It's going up and we stuck. Cardi B, we going up. Yeah.
Up. I was just like, this means so much to me. But when people see something that large, and of course all the gears get to going, well, where's the money going? What is it gonna do? Tell us, like, from like a high level, like, what is that going to do beyond what we've already seen for students, for the for the campus, whatever it looks like, so that people can truly understand. And I will be rallying all you 2004, 2005, 2006 folks that was up in there with me to really put an active hand back in and show up more, because that was something really also too that ignited the path to really wanting to reconnect.
I love it. Great question. And so when I talked to you just a moment ago, when you asked me about, people's opinions and ideas, you don't get a gift if you don't have a plan. So we had to Habakkuk 2:2. I go back to this. The Bible has laid out what you need to do to be successful. Write the vision and make it plain. We wrote a vision. So it's not like the Moody's just walked, they need that's not going to happen. They did say, we want to know more about what you are doing. I couldn't just say, well, we doing all right. And yeah, things are going good. I said, here is said plan. Here is where you have to, God will tell you, you have to prepare. You may want a gift and you may want a blessing. Okay. But you also have to be prepared to receive a blessing. Mm-hmm. So how are you preparing yourself now? That just doesn't mean at HT or wherever, whoever is under the sound of my voice. How are you preparing yourself to receive the blessing that you have asked for?
Right.
And so we had a plan. We have a plan. If you say, Dr. Melva, I got $50. What can it go to? I can tell you today, right now, in 5 seconds or less, what it's going to go to. So great question. So it was no surprise for us that we're not, we're getting this gift. So the backstory, can I tell you the backstory? So the backstory, this is the scoop. So the backstory is they came to us in March, the Moody Foundation, Ross and Ellie Moody, phenomenal folks and great partners. They are, them, Shanasia, because have you ever been in the Jackson Moody building?
Have.
Well, the Moody in the Jackson Moody building is their family.
Oh, didn't I know?
They are the only living eponyms, and eponym means the only living person with a building on, They're the only living eponyms here on our campus. You have the Davish Durden building, you have the Agard Loving Good, you have the building, you have Alan Frazier and Beard Burroughs. We have all of these buildings. And if anybody's watching this, your favorite campus, you got a Bethune Hall and a this and that. Everybody got a Jones, whatever. Okay, so Jackson Moody, the Moody family, living people, still living people. So in the 60s, their family had a partnership with the president at the time, and they put the building, they paid the money to put help with the Jackson Moody building. Okay. So again, it is, what relationships do you already have?
Oh, that's good.
That you can go back to. People think, okay, well, Shanasia gave once, or Shanasia did something back in 1982. Well, Shanasia's still living. Let's get back with her. Let's re-engage. So we did. That re-engagement happened. We had a plan, and they came to us of March of last year and said, look, we would like to do $130 million. I'm like, out of my chair, on the ground, praise the Lord, Holy Ghost, don't, the full everything, right?
Right.
And the day of the announcement, because again, you have to have your ducks in a row. And when people give, you have to be responsive. You have to have a plan. You have to know what you're going to be doing. And we were, and behind my back, they upped the ante. From 130, surprised me on stage with 150. Wow. And when I tell you God will do exceedingly abundantly above all you can ask or think. And so as I stood there, I thought that Ross Moody had made a mistake. I'm like, oh my God, he got it confused with our 150th anniversary. You know, we were celebrating our 150th. Right. And I'm like, oh my God. And I'm like, and you'll see on the, you know, it leans over and says, gotcha. And I'm like, oh my God, you know, and it's this moment of excitement and enthusiasm. And that's, you know, I was so emotional because I thought I had already communicated to the board and, you know, hey, we're getting 130 million. Now, trust me, we was happy with what we were going. Sure. But I said, there are institutions that would have thrown a ticker tape parade over the 20 million, over the extra. Over the extra. So to have gotten that extra, that 150 was a blessing. And here to your question, exactly what it's going to go to. $100 million will go to the new buildings that we are building on campus. So we are building student housing, a new arena, new administration building and classroom space. So you know, we're going to hit the reset button. We will no longer be able to look like what we have been through. Okay. We've been through Jim Crow and segregation, all of those iterations and timelines of despair. And we're going to look new. We're going to look brand new. 50 million go, I get to put in the hands of I call them my sweet babies. They are not babies, but the students. So it's a scholarship program. It's called the Ross Moody Finishing the Last Mile. So here is the kicker. This is the first time. This is the inside scoop. This is the TMZ scoop for you, is that what we'll be announcing to students is that in the senior year,
come on,
they will not have to pay tuition their senior year. No tuition. So imagine for a family, if you can just say, look, if you just get to the senior year, if you just get there, we got you. Imagine if someone had told you that in that moment, you were already a hard worker and you were already dedicated and focused and knew what you wanted to do and ready to graduate and had your focus and prepared. But we will be making that announcement very soon to students that, you know, there will be a time very soon because we've already gotten our first, you know, little deposit in bank from Moody Foundation, that we'll be able to do that for those seniors in the upcoming years. So, yeah, isn't that beautiful?
Look, I'm rarely speeches on this podcast. You notice I ain't said a word in about 20 seconds. I ain't have no words to say.
You gotta think big.
I mean, it brings tears to my eyes because, I mean, what a thing for somebody to hear. But I get to be a senior, there's no tuition. One of the biggest barriers is the cost. I'm just saying it from, you know, even, you know, my peers had, you know, had to do what they had to do to take care of school. Like I can even remember, and this is a transparent story, I'm not even sure if I've shared it here. When I got there to Huston-Tillotson, I wasn't supposed to go. I was a Howard girl. I had a roommate and everything, and I had a crisis. And when I got home, I just started crying. I'm like, I can't go wait up there. I'm just gonna be. I was somebody that used to go to my church used to be a board of trustee member way back then. He's long gone, Dr. Bill Stone. But he said, "Come on, girl, you got to do something." He called up there. He said, "They're gonna tour you the school. You go up there and you figure it out." But anyway, we had to do everything very, very, very quickly. Okay. Luckily, I got a room and all this kind of stuff. But when I got in there in that accounting office, they were like, "Well, you got a little bit of the grant money, you got a little bit of the scholarship money," and I had like a little club that was sitting. And they were like, "Well, at that time, they were telling my grandfather who was sitting there. They said, 'Well, we'll put you on a payment plan.'" He's like, "I don't want to take any loans out. I don't want to do that right now. I don't want to do it. So how much?" So they told my grandfather $785 a month. That was way back in 2004 or 5 or whatever.
Huge. That's a lot of money.
He signed. He said, "I don't care. I found a way to pay it." Now, when I left out of there, we rode all the way back home. That was the first time I had like a very silent kind of communication with myself. Like, man, I know and trust me, that man would have come through. Believe me, he would have come through every single month without a doubt. Okay. And I remember I went back when I finally got into campus and everything like that. I started stopping by. They used to have the admissions in like the small house when you come in. So I used to knock on the door. I knocked on the door one day and they were like, "Well, Miss Washington, school just starting. You got what you got or whatever." This is the first time maybe I was forming myself, but I didn't know I was. Yeah. So I knocked every day.
Not every day, Shanadra. Knock every day. Yeah.
Because I was a biology major, so most of my classes was way at the end down there. Okay.
You could stop by. You could pull up.
I walk here from AL. I'm like, man, I just felt so bad. I was like, man, he don't care. He's gonna pass. I don't want my grandfather paying that kind of money, $735 a month. I just didn't want him to do it, but he would have.
That's a lot.
I just knocked again, and before it became a habit, someone made me through that session. They would just shake their head. No, I said, "Well, do you have anything I can apply for? Anything?" And girl, how about one day? This has been my grandfather never made that first payment. He never did. I'm gonna pull my records. It's like some people. I knocked on their door, and before I could knock, the guy that was working in there opened the door and said, "I think you can apply for the UNCF scholarship." He said it's renewable. He said it's renewable every semester if you keep your grade average up to a B. I said, "Huh?" And I had been doing this, girl, for weeks at a time, just knocking. And they were just pushing me away. And he stopped me and he said, "Go ahead on the class." He said, "When you go to class," he said, "you come back here, you're gonna fill out this information." And of course, I came right there. I'm like, I don't do nothing around here. I'm gonna be here. I'm gonna be here right on time. I'm not gonna teeter. And I got right there right on time. And I waited for him to come. And he filled it out. And about a week later, we went through. He said they were looking for specifically biology majors on HBCU. It was such a specific thing that happened.
It was the Lord.
And I was just like, yeah. So for the whole time, that thing followed me. We had to turn in the transcripts at the end of because you had to keep a B average. And every time I turned before I got ready to leave for spring or for fall break or whatever, I submitted my thing and money was put into. They sent the money directly to the school every time. So when people were leaving, because I remember my roommate, she said, well, she moved off the first semester. And they wanted me to come in. Like, "You're not gonna move off campus," and this, that, and I didn't have a car until like the last year. I said, "Oh no, my stuff is paid for here."
Look, I'm ready. Like, I am ready to go.
My stuff is paid for. Like, I'm not moving off and then have to have these additional expenses. Everything is taken care of from that. So to hear you say that and know the discussions I had with my peers and stuff like that, and me telling them like, no, I said I came in 2004. I'm leaving in 2008. No ifs, ands, and buts about it. That's what's happening. Maybe even sooner. Okay. I say, look now. That's
what's happening.
Story. I'm sticking to it, and that's what's gonna happen.
I love it. That is so funny. It is so funny. It is so heartwarming. It is so real. It is so relatable. It is so still happening. Let's just, I want your story to be a wow. Like, wow, so amazing. Unfortunately, it is not uncommon that students are still looking for $700 a month. It is not.
I don't know it.
Yeah. And so I know that so many of your listeners have that same story? You know, they probably didn't get out as fast as you did because you were like, I'm on a mission. They didn't do that. They probably wasn't as fast. They weren't on the speed track. But it is still today. That is not unusual. And so here is the goal. We have the 150. It's split between the buildings and then the student scholarships. My goal is to do to enhance the Ross Moody Finishing the Last Mile to the Meet Me Halfway program, to where we can say, if you pay for your junior and senior, your sophomore and your freshman and sophomore year, let me get you for that junior and senior year. So that is why we are launching our capital campaign. It is going to launch this fall, and we'll need people and advocates like you. I will need you. I know this is not one of your questions. I don't even know if it's time for this, but I need you. I need people who are listening to your podcast to join us as we do that, because as a community, we can make it happen where students can come to our institution. They can do 2 years, pay those first 2 years with their student loans or whatever they need to do, and let us take on that junior and senior year. And that will be let that be our legacy as an HBCU family to Huston-Tillotson University. Yeah.
Yes. I mean, that is just, oh my goodness, you know, the finishing power of that. Like, I just think about the finishing aspect of that, because when you think about that financially, when you think about this big investment for 4 years and you like literally potentially cut it in half for somebody, that is nothing small.
Yes, that's huge.
Oh my God, that is literally like nothing small. And many of the people that probably had the, you know, the goal and everything because of financial reasons, they didn't finish it at the time that, you know, we were there together. Of course, there were other things going on. You know, we had partiers. You know, you're gonna have a little bit of everybody, you know. But there are some people that I know for a fact, had that been available at the time that I was there, they would have had a different outcome. And that I know to be true, because their financial piece was so big. So to me, it is just it's just heartwarming, and for our schools to be on the tip of everybody's tongue.
Give now, and people can give now. They can go to our website, htu.edu, and make a gift. You know, I give to about 5 or 6 HBCUs a year, not just HT. I give to Southern University. I give to my alma mater, Jackson State University. I give to other universities. You know, I pick a few throughout the year and give, you know, and give. If I see, oh my God, this school, and I like to give to the smaller HBCUs. You know, everybody's going to think about, when you say, you're going to think about your Howard and your Hamptons and your Spelman and your Morehouse. You know, they're going to think of those. But, you know, I encourage your listeners to think about those smaller HBCUs that deserve your treasure. And yes, I'm not saying take the gifts from your favorite HBCU, give, but expand your gift, because this is all we have. We have the Black church and the Black college. That's all we got. I mean, if you think about our ecosystem of Black excellence, those are the 2 entities. And so we're good at giving to our churches. You know, we do that, you know, and well, let me not fight with any pastors that listen. I won't say, we know to do that. You know, we think about paying our tithes potentially, but are we thinking about the other thing that we have as a community? And those are our Black HBCUs, our HBCUs. So committing that money, if it's $50, $25, pick HT and say, yeah, I'm going to give to my alma mater, but I'm going to give $50 to HT. I'm going to give $100 to HT. My job might match me if I give to several HBCUs. And please include, I appeal to all of you to please include Huston-Tillotson on your gift.
Absolutely. And I'm so happy when I come here, and because we've had women here, they've never heard of it. I mean, they've been to HBCU or Spelman or something like that, but they've literally never heard of HC, even though they're in the HBCU ecosystem. So to be a representative, I say, no, we good. We produce good crop, don't it? I say, when you leave here,
that's right.
I say, y'all, when you leave here now, you know, when you got a face to the school, you got a face to the institution. Because even amongst, speaking to several HBCU alums, there's still many that have never heard of Huston-Tillotson University. When they think Texas, they think TSU and PD. Everything kind of goes out, and that's just honest. Everything else goes out the window for Texas. And that was one of the things. So I think people always ask me, why did you just go to TSU? You know, because I was here in Houston. I said, I needed to at least go 2 hours away because girl here had to grow up. I was just sheltered, you got to go 2 hours away and kind of grow up a little bit. And it was really it's the best decision. It was the best decision for me, like looking back, even though I had a hard little week, girl. I literally cried my first night in my dorm room bed. My roommate say, I like pills, girl. I had to get a tissue. Man, just don't worry about it. I didn't grew up. I didn't got better, stronger, and wiser.
Yes.
but I had it. But it's literally the best decision for me, for a person where I was socially, just all the kind of things, still kind of this homebody girl that still wants to be a little bit close. I still speak to all the people I would consider like close friends, my little close knit. I still speak to every last one of them today.
That's beautiful, and that's the story of all of our HB. You know, right? We have our groups, we have our close knit groups that they're not friends anymore. They're well past the friend zone. They're the family that we've decided for ourselves or our family. We've been in their weddings, we've been to funerals, we've supported them in divorces and births and deaths. The list goes on and on, and reunions and, first business ribbon cutting or whatever it is, you're there for each other. So it's beautiful.
I want to ask you this because you have spent the life of pouring, advocacy, leading, and doing all things caring. That's what I hear. I just hear care, a high level of care, but really at a level of excellence. That's really what I take from all of your experience, to put it like in a simplistic form. How is Dr. Melva Wallace caring for Dr. Melva Wallace? What are you doing to make sure? I'm serious because you got a lot going on. Like, you got this, you do your own, personal stuff. And then, I went around, I say, you married to Dr. B.L. Wallace. He got his own book of things. And, also to have to be supportive. How are you caring for you?
I have no idea. So I will tell you.
That's fair.
I am not, people, I've been asked this question. And the other thing where I feel like a huge failure is that sometimes I'm asked to give talks about self-care. And I'm like, yeah, self-care when you're trying to put on 2 matching earrings and get your wig on straight and wear matching shoes and show up fabulous. Like, how does one do that? And fold the clothes and cook the food and do this and do all of the things and show up with excellence. And that is honestly a place that I can't say that I'm doing the best job. I do my best, but I'm certainly not one that you would say, well, that's an example of how to balance it all out. Shonda Rhimes gave a talk. She was doing the commencement address for some institution. And she says, if you see me at the final rewrite for Scandal, I'm missing my daughter's first swim lesson. And if you see me at my daughter's ballet recital, then I'm missing the opening show of, some other show that she's doing. And so it's give and take. And you're trying to balance your family and people you love and care about and the people that you want to reciprocate that love to the people that love you. And you also want to follow your passion and your dream and fulfill the obligation and the duties of, holding a responsibility such as being a president, CEO. So I try to find days with my girlfriends and days with my, of course, it's plenty of days with my husband, he's my favorite person. So I enjoy spending time with him, but just finding time with friends and taking a little spa day here and there, trying to navigate it all. But that's usually what I do. That's kind of my thing, I think. I love to shop, so that's always fun. But yeah, so that's what I think I'm doing to enjoy life at the same time.
Mm-hmm. And I love that answer. That's perfect, because I think people want you to have like these, oh, let me quote this moment of what she said. Because I've gotten the question too. And I'll be saying burly. I say I'm from Port Arthur and I'm blind. Burly, the mean.
Yeah, like
yeah, it's really that. And I said, also another part of me, like knowing that people that I'm extremely kind of close to and I'm really there for, knowing that they are cared for from a place for me that's pure, that gives me life. So I said, and I said, people can, challenge me or not challenge me. I said, I know for me personally what feels good, and nobody gets to challenge that, right?
Yeah.
So what I tell people, when this thing is all said and done, it's time for Shanasia to leave this space. They only got to say two things. I don't need a bunch of adjectives. They can say she's a servant and she's a forever learner. If she is operating with those two facets, Shanasia Washington is doing her best. She is doing what she is supposed to do. We don't need no more of your fancy adjectives, okay? Those are the only two I live by. Yeah. That's it. And I know I'm okay with that. Like, if my life is service, that doesn't mean that I don't stop. My body doesn't get weary. I'm not saying any of that. I'm not saying that I'm not to be accountable for taking care of myself, making sure I'm drinking water, making sure I'm getting fixed. I am not saying any of that. That is not what Shanasia Washington is saying. But Shanasia Washington knows that she was born for service. And you got to do a lot of work with yourself to stand there bold and firm to say, this is what I know and this is what I'm standing on.
Yeah.
Right? So I want people to know that was the perfect answer. You could have gave one better than that, Dr. Wallace, because that's the real life way. That's the real life way around.
We're not always winning it. We're not winning it. And you're gonna either feel guilty about it or you're gonna, keep trying at it. So
that's it.
Yeah.
I want to make sure I ask you this. I know, look, we've been hanging out for an hour and it don't even feel like it, but I want to ask you about specifically women leadership. Because it's a thing, okay? It's a women leadership, but then you got a whole nother area of Black women leadership. I want people to know there's two different things. It's women leadership and Black women leadership. I want to make sure people understand that that's two different things. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me about knowing how to own your power. I get people see me on a podcast and they think a certain thing or like a certain way, and like, how did you get into doing this? Like, being so natural doing it. But it was really my own walk with dissecting and owning my power. From your perspective, how do you do that? When did you know that you were I feel like I'm kind of walking that walk? And how do you help other women like own their power?
Of leadership per se, do you think? Or
perhaps, right? Maybe leadership can be a byproduct maybe of it. Maybe when you own your power, you do lead, or maybe you don't. Maybe you're okay owning your power, not being in the leadership role. Maybe owning my power did come with the hat of leadership, right? I don't know if it always will, but
yeah, I think, my theory is that, power is always there.
Sure.
It's whether it's how much of it you want to take, how much of it you want to exert, how much of it do you want to, it's like paying for Golden Corral buffet. They like, well, it's out here. Just when you get full, you sit out, you leave when you get ready. They're not like, they're like, we close at 9. So you can come, you can get a quick snack and head out. So how much of it do you want to unlock? Maybe that's my answer, is determining how much. And so I think that you unlock it depending on the relationships, right? So there are times where you're like, look, I can, in the ecosystem of being a president, I can make a decision and say, this is it, dictatorship, we will do this, and hear you. And that's that on that. Or I can say, sit back and allow others to be a part of the process. And I think that too is powerful, by allowing others to share into the experience and share into the goal and share into the journey. So it's how much of it you take, how much of it you give, it's how much of it you share with others, it's how much of it you allocate. And that's just how I view the aspect of power. And then Blended Black Woman, that's a whole nother conversation. That's a whole nother issue for another magazine. It's a lot with that, because you're navigating, how to communicate in certain spaces. And so I still like to always say authenticity is best, and finding a way to hone in on authenticity when in various spaces. So I don't know if that's helpful to anybody.
It's helpful. It's definitely helpful. And this part of it, and authenticity about in the different spaces, has really been tied to the journey of even how and why I do it the way that I do it. I think because of especially the last 7 years of my career being like a triple minority, being American, Black, and woman. I worked for a foreign investment bank for 7 years prior to this, right? And the last 2 years of that really forced this work. Let me just say that very transparently. So I didn't expect, like I was working at another large familiar American insurance company prior to that, but it was a little bit more diverse. And I went to a whole different country thing, and it's like so many different levels, different things that went on through there. I learned a lot very quickly. But I want to say one thing is that when I got, kind of jumped around, I had in 13 years of my career, I had 10 different roles, which means I just mastered and kind of moved on, which was kind of indicative of how you can see in my track record. I just put my head down and get my work done. I don't miss work. I don't do any of that. That's just something that came from my household. Saying my grandfather, a military man, worked the way that he worked and very methodical. He just got it done. So that kind of fell into my lap. But what happened, and the reason why the podcast exists, is that I started to get all the crap work, all the teams. I would build teams to heroes. They were zeros. I would build the heroes. They would just take the people away, and I kept having to kind of fish. But what that taught me is that I could always build community. There were times when I did not even know all the way the language or the climate of the people. I was managing people literally I've literally had conversations with people on every continent except Antarctica. And it taught me it changed me. It did change me, but it taught me so much. And this is why I preach this from a pure place about authenticity, because I was really able to build community and get things done with principles that I couldn't even comprehend because I hadn't even been trained on. When you do it from a place that's really pure and you get rooted, and of course I wasn't so in this like when I was doing it, because it just felt so hard. It just felt like, Lord, why do you keep doing this? Like, I get to a place where I'm comfortable, I am communicating, I have a good team, and then you just drop me somewhere else. I don't understand what's happening. I am getting tired. I'm getting fatigued in this thing. Like, I am just so tired. And I didn't understand that until after I left. So this thing then became second nature, because I'm like, well, I had already been doing this on the ground.
Right.
Well, speaking to all kind of people and getting things done and get things moving. So to anyone that's out there, I always encourage you guys to do that hard work of inner work and figure out what their power is. It doesn't always come overnight. It's always not the easiest journey, but it's worth it. It is so worth it. And you decide how much you want to take. Just like this. Right. Did you say something about golden career? I was like, oh my God, how did we used to do that back in the day? I was still footing the golden career today. You can have all
it's all there for you, right? It's everything there for you. Sometimes we shy away from, taking the lead, or speaking up, or asserting yourself in an appropriate way. I mean, you have to navigate time and the right time and all of that. I mean, there are nuances to it, but it is important as women in leadership that you know how to navigate the nuances of the power that you do have access to.
Come on.
You do have access to it. Just gotta exert yourself sometimes. Yeah.
I want to ask this final question, just so that we are conscious of time and we can give Dr. Mills back her time. I want to say this, that when your presidency is discussed, let's say, maybe 20 years from now, and we're talking about not only this, but just the legacy of Dr. Melva K. Wallace, what are you hoping that people are saying? What stood out as mattered the most to you? And what do you think that people would just say, like, holistically, about you matriculating your entire career really to service? I have to think about this question myself as I'm building, because that's what keeps me going in the morning to get to that answer of wanting people to have that remembrance of me. I have to plant those seeds daily. But for you, what are you hoping that people are saying about this space?
Oh my gosh. That's a hard one. I would say that I'm a builder, that I have, my grandfather was a builder. I admire him. So he couldn't read or write, but yet find his name with an X and bought land and was just out of slavery and all of those things, and being an enslaved person in this country and still finding it to be not robbery to build and to give back to his community. And I would hope that people saw me as a solutionist. I see myself as that if there are issues and problems and processes here, especially on our campus or in the world, that I found a way to eliminate barriers and to increase access for people to reach their dreams. And so I hope those are two of the things that they might say about me.
They said them already, Dr. Wallace. Don't even try. They are. They are already said it. But thank you. I think it's a great reflection question. Now, this is going to be the part of the show we choose our guests for final thoughts. We asked them to give us some great party words in the space that we shared, and really something that captures the essence of Dr. Melva K. Wallace. I'll go with you for final thoughts. I'll be back to close the show.
So I gotta do what am I doing?
You're gonna do your final thoughts, something that captures the essence of you, and something that also just gives us some great party words for the space that we shared. And once you do that, I'll be back to close the show.
Oh my gosh.
Final thoughts.
Okay, my final thoughts. Let me give you my final thought. My final thoughts is that how in the world is Shanadra not on national TV? Like, beauty, phenomenal personality. Like, that is really my final thought. I have completely been captivated by your personality, your warmth, your brilliance. I'm trying to see why we don't have 1 million followers. That's really my final thought, is just like, why do we not have 1 million followers? My other final thoughts are, this is such an important podcast. It's an important show, the HBCU Her Voice podcast, to really hear the voices of women and more importantly, the folks who are in the HBCU space, I think is so important and so impactful. And I think my final thought is, why not give? Why not give? I always have to end with a gift. A person that's raised $150 million is always going to ask, why not give to your favorite HBCU? And I hope it's HT today.
Oh my gosh, I'm gonna cry. Thank you so much for the words. I really appreciate it. I really, really appreciate it, girl. I am trying to stay connected to the mission and do all the things, but man, I'm trying. I went through a lot of seasons of pivot and just all the different things, but I am trying my best to stand in it. And I'm telling you that from the purest place of my heart. I am trying my best to stand in it. And I love what you said, you guys. Why not give?
Why not?
Like I say, I don't know if it's just where I am in the season of my life, but it's just been so heavy, you know, really just even to reconnect with the community for students, even for encouragement, whatever it is that you can do. Maybe you don't have the financial donation. See what you can do on campus. See if there's something, you know, in the alumni groups and networks that you can be a part of. It doesn't always have to be financial, but of course we do know that we need money to keep these institutions going. Bills have to be paid and all the different things. But let me just say to everyone who has stayed and hung out with us on the HBCU Her Voice podcast, you know my heart is heavy. You know I'm be good. You know I'm finna call as soon as I get off of here. I'm finna call my grandfather and say, hey, guess who I interviewed on today? Okay, Dr. Melva K. Wallace, the CEO and president of Huston-Tillotson University. He ain't gonna believe it, baby.
I love it. Tell him, yes, believe it. Believe it.
He's not going to believe it. I'm going to call him as soon as I get off to tell him how incredibly grateful I am, how incredibly proud I am, and really to see the life and what's going on with this institution. I am completely floored. Y'all seen I was like speechless for like a whole minute during the podcast. I ain't know what to say. Jaw just dropped, okay? But I rebounded, and I'm telling you, what you doing, Dr. Wallace? Baby, if ain't nobody told you, girl.
Oh my God.
If ain't nobody told you, girl, you really doing it. And you doing it how you supposed to do it. Looking how you supposed to look, okay? Look, now I'm trying to say I love you. Ain't nothing you can do about that, right? But you come back next time for another amazing moment here on the HBCU Her Voice podcast. We love you. We out.